You joked with the stray cat you found, saying you were going to take it to be neutered. But unexpectedly, the next day at work, your bonus was inexplicably deducted, and the way your female boss looked at you became increasingly strange. You even felt like you could be fired at any moment. Until one morning, you overheard a conversation from the office. They were actually trying to hire an assassin. The target was you, this clueless employee. Looking at your short-tempered and arrogant female boss, you finally realized that she bore a striking resemblance to the stray cat you had picked up. 3 days ago, after your shift, you were getting ready to drive home. But you discovered a calico cat hiding by your car's rear wheel. Its big, round eyes were staring at you motionlessly. Your heart instantly melted, and you then scooped the little cat out from under the car. They say calicos are the Lu Yifei of the cat world. Little Calico, you're lucky you ran into me. As you said this, you picked up the calico cat by the scruff of its neck and put her in the car. Let's go. Come home with Big Brother. Big Brother has lots of tasty food at home. The moment the words left your mouth, you realized something was off. Why did that sound like you were luring an innocent young girl? You then looked at the little kitty in the passenger seat. And sure enough, in her jewel-like eyes, you could see 3 parts disdain, 3 parts vigilance, and 4 parts humiliated anger. Seeing this, you chuckled. This little cat was quite the drama queen. It was as if it could understand what you were saying. Since stray cats carry a lot of bacteria, you decided to take her to get a rabies vaccine first, so you went straight to the pet hospital downstairs in your apartment complex. The veterinarian smiled and walked you through the specific services. There wasn't just a bath, checkup, grooming, and vaccination for the kitten, but also a package deal that was quite a bargain. It even includes 1 free neutering procedure. Neutering? Even though it wasn't for you, you still shuddered when you heard the word. Then, you looked at the kitten next to you. It had been relatively calm when they mentioned the other services, but as soon as it heard the word neutering, it instantly went ballistic, meowing and biting inside its cage. It seemed extremely resistant. You found this rather amusing. Could this cat actually understand what neutering meant? Since it was so against it, you smiled and told the vet to forget about the neutering. If she was healthy, she might even be able to have a litter of beautiful kittens. After confirming the services, the vet handed you a piece of paper. This is the information form. You'll need to fill it out. Looking at the name section on the form, you thought for a moment and muttered, "M-I-M-I." The moment you hear it, you know it's a cat. I'm a genius at naming things. You then looked quite proudly at the kitten being pushed into the examination room. But the next second, you rubbed your eyes. Strange. How can a cat's face look so speechless? Once everything was taken care of, before leaving, you also bought a large bag of high-end cat food. You went home with the refreshed calico cat. You then tore open a bag of cat food, and the aroma immediately filled the air. You've been a stray for so long. You've probably never had the good stuff. You filled a bowl with food and pushed it in front of MIMI with great anticipation, saying, "Don't be so prim and proper. Go on and eat, you little glutton." However, the calico cat just gave it a light sniff and then looked at you with a constipated expression, as if to say, "This stuff is edible?" But seeing the expectant look in your eyes, it took a token bite of the dried tofu, chewed it for a moment, and then immediately spat it out with a blech. Then, just like a person, it even spat Pitui twice, flicked its tail, and walked over to the French doors. Seeing that Xiao Umai wasn't the least bit interested in the cat food, you scratched your head in confusion. Could it be not to her liking? But she's a stray, isn't she? How can it be a picky eater? Ding dong. Just then, the doorbell rang. You opened the door and, sure enough, it was the waiter from the private kitchen downstairs. He was holding several containers of freshly made dishes. This was a daily habit of yours before getting off work. You'd have the restaurant prepare your dinner and deliver it. You washed your hands and were just about to eat when you suddenly saw a shocking sight. The calico cat had made itself the guest of honor. It was sitting nonchalantly on the dining table, helping itself to your sweet and sour pork ribs. It would take a bite of ribs, then a sip of fresh fish soup, and it didn't even forget to eat some greens to get its vitamins. Get down from there, the absolute nerve. You're up on the table, and I haven't even eaten yet. You looked at the messy table, your heart sinking in despair. You then picked up the calico cat, but she just gave you a defiant look, as if to say, "I'm just having a bite. Why are you getting so worked up?" Looking at the leftovers on the table, you suddenly found it hard to swallow. It just got its shots. This food should still be okay to eat, right? It should be fine, right? In the end, you decided to ignore it, picked up a rib from the bottom, and started eating. However, what you didn't know was that the calico cat's face actually turned red, just like a person's. It looked at you shyly, as if it was bothered by the indirect kiss. After you hurriedly ate a few more bites, suddenly, your phone rang. You answered, and the sound of your colleague, Fatty Hu, wailing dramatically came from the other end. Da Shang, this is your big chance. Earth-shattering news. Our company's beautiful CEO, Lu Rian, has disappeared. Hearing this, you were speechless for a moment, then replied with annoyance. You called me just for this? What does the CEO's disappearance have to do with me? It's not like I kidnapped her. However, just as you said that, the Calico cat scratched at your hair from behind, but you just casually scooped her into your arms for a cuddle. Then, Fatty Who's sly voice came through again. I bet you don't know, do you? Our CEO has never been in a relationship. She's a pure, innocent flower. Now she's run away from home. If you were to find her and win her over, wouldn't you be set for life? Hearing this, you snapped irritably. Why don't you go find her then? If I go, it's like a toad trying to woo a princess. If you go, she might just devote her life to you. What kind of nonsense is this? I don't have time for this crap. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Don't keep me from making money. With a couple of beeps, you ruthlessly hung up the phone. You then grabbed your laptop and started browsing the latest financial news. Just then, the Calico cat ran to the door. It started scratching at the door with its paws, trying to escape. Seeing this, you tilted your head and called out, "Xiao am I?" Quiet. And with that, you started working on your computer. You muttered to yourself, "Dammy Mobile's stock is about to plummet. This is my chance." Hearing you mutter to yourself, the Calico cat snorted with contempt. How delusional. Dammy Mobile is at its peak right now. How could it possibly fall? If you really go through with this, you'll lose every last penny. Just as you were about to make your move, the Calico cat suddenly leapt onto the keyboard and started stepping all over it. Trying to stop you. What's this? You don't want me to do this? You could already tell that this Calico cat you'd casually taken in was unusually intelligent. You then picked her up and mused aloud, Dammy's stock has been on the rise lately. It looks like there's still a lot of room to grow, but it's actually reached its limit. The main reason is that the two biggest directors on the board are planning a joint buyout. Hearing this, the Calico cat's face was a mask of confusion. She never thought this nobody from the company could actually get this kind of insider information. It seems he has his own connections, but if that's the case, why is he content with being just a regular employee? After you finished what you were doing, night had already fallen, you quickly washed up, and fell asleep on the large bed in your bedroom. But just then, on the living room sofa, a pair of glowing eyes snapped open. She got up, tiptoed to the front door, and was about to jump onto the shoe cabinet to use her weight to push down the handle. But just as the Calico cat was about to move, a faint white light flashed, and the Calico cat suddenly transformed into a human. She had a perfect model's figure, with a pair of long, slender, pale legs. I've changed back? Lu Ruyan looked herself over. Her face instantly flushed. Where did my clothes go? The thought that there was a man sleeping in a nearby room made Lu Ruyan feel flustered. This is so embarrassing. In the end, she found a large t-shirt and a pair of shorts in the closet. Then, she went to your bedside. So it's this detestable guy who kidnapped me, brought me to his house, and nearly had me spayed. Thinking this, Lu Ruyan made a menacing gesture towards a certain sensitive area of your body. That seemed to vent some of her anger. The next second, she grabbed your phone from the bedside table and unlocked it with your fingerprint. She immediately sent a text to her best friend, Huang Ruha. Come pick me up at the Kunkan intersection now. Don't reply. After sending it, she immediately deleted the message. Then, Lu Ruyan shot you a harsh glare. With that, she left the apartment and walked to the entrance of the residential complex. Before long, Lu Ruyan got into a white Panamera. But she didn't go home. Instead, she went straight back to the office. She immediately turned on her computer and went over the detailed data. Lu Ruyan was incredibly grateful she'd overheard your analysis. Otherwise, she never would have been able to figure out the true situation with Dammy Mobile. This time, she saved the company from what would have been an unavoidable loss. Could it be that turning into a cat was a blessing from heaven? I just don't know when I'll turn into a cat again. I'm praying I don't change back. At this thought, Lu Ruyan shifted her body uncomfortably. Right now, her mind was filled with the image of you holding her in your arms and kneading her. That jerk, how dare he take advantage of me. The next day at 9 in the morning, Lu Ruyan was dozing off drowsily in her chair. In her dream, she had become a cat again, and you held her in your arms all night. In her daze, she heard her assistant's soft reminder in her ear. Lu Ruyan slowly woke up. What is it? The board members have all arrived. They're waiting in the conference room. I know. Lu Ruyan collected herself for a moment, then walked out of the office. Thinking about the nightmare she just had, and the fact that she hadn't slept well all night, Lu Ruyan immediately felt a little irritable. As she was passing by an office area, Lu Ruyan deliberately slowed her steps and finally found you in a corner, scrolling on your phone. You jerk. I didn't sleep all night and I still have to go to a meeting. And you dare to slack off at work? That employee in the corner on his phone got his entire bonus for this month. Alright. Jung Lee was stunned for a second, then quickly jotted it down. But her expression was a bit surprised. Ever since she started working with Ms. Lu, she had never seen her be so strict with any employee. Besides, phones are also work tools. Many people in the office area were using their phones. Why did she only punish you? However, in the next second, that cold, irritable voice rang out again. I remember there's also one called Pang Hu, right? That's right. That's him over there. As she spoke, Zheng Li pointed to a chubby employee. Dock his bonus too. Ms. Liu, he wasn't on his phone. He was talking too loudly. Hearing this, Zheng Li froze on the spot. Was he just talking? Before she could figure it out, Lu Rian had already walked into the conference room. Meanwhile, you were crossing your legs, scrolling through short videos. You were watching the daily life of a cat blogger when suddenly, your supervisor walked over and said irritably, "Still messing around? Didn't you see Ms. Liu just came by? She saw you on your phone. She docked your bonus for the month." Hearing that, you shot up in shock and exclaimed, "What? Isn't Ms. Liu missing?" As soon as you said this, the supervisor immediately tapped you on the head with his report. "Missing my foot." Peng Hu noticed the commotion over here and sauntered over with a smug look. "Ha ha 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 ha, got your bonus docked? Serves you right. That's what you get for always." However, before he could finish his sentence, the supervisor slowly turned around, grinding his teeth as he looked at Peng Hu. "Who said she didn't mention you? This was also a special order from Ms. Liu. Your bonus is gone too." At that, Peng Hu panicked. "Why dock my pay too?" On the other side, Lu Rian, in the conference room, seemed a bit absent-minded. The moment she thought about how you took her home, and even patted her head, a blush instantly spread across Lu Rian's pretty face. Throughout the entire meeting, she kept zoning out. After the meeting ended, she suddenly seemed to have thought of something. "Will I turn back into a cat again? If that happens, which home should I go back to?" She hesitated. Of course, going back to her villa would be best. She could have someone prepare delicious food for her, even if she turned into a cat. It wouldn't affect things too much. But for some reason, an idea that startled even herself suddenly flashed through her mind. Go to Big Bear's place? No. Last time was a complete accident. If I go back on my own this time, it'll look like I'm trying to spy on his life. She was still the president of the Kunkin group, after all. But soon, Lu Rian thought of a compromise. She then ordered her secretary to rent a house near your place and asked her to change the door lock. She wanted it replaced with a lightweight lock, preferably one that even a cat could easily push open. Although her secretary was confused, she did as she was told. Meanwhile, Peng Hu was still grumbling about his bonus being deducted. He looked like his world had just ended. "Oh, for fuck's sake. I can't believe it. You can get your bonus docked just for talking during work hours? This damn capitalism, but you didn't think it was a big deal. Instead, you found it a bit strange and asked, didn't you say the president was missing yesterday? Where did you hear that?" Hearing this, Peng Hu cracked his knuckles sullenly. "After work yesterday, I saw a bunch of people in the parking lot looking for President Liu. It seems she went into the parking lot and just vanished. I thought she'd been kidnapped. And then this morning, the first thing that happens is I get my bonus docked. It's not like I'm the one who kidnapped her. I'm just an innocent bystander caught in the crossfire." Hearing this, you thought for a moment. You were also in the parking lot after work yesterday, but you don't remember seeing anything like that. Oh well, no point thinking about it. You had a new cat at home now, and that required more of your attention. You had no idea what kind of state the house would be in when you got back. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Lu Rian left work early. She went back to the new rental house and had a quick bite to eat. She prepared for the transformation to come. Sure enough, at exactly 5 o'clock, Lu Rian suddenly felt a strange sensation, kind of like the urgent need to use the bathroom. And then, she turned back into a cat. "So I change back at 5 p.m. sharp every day, huh?" She glanced at the time, ran to the door, and squeezed her way out. Then, she went to your front door to wait. Having been busy all day, and having just eaten, she suddenly started to feel sleepy. Just as she was about to lie down, Lu Rian forced her little cat legs to straighten up. "No, I have dignity. How can I just curl up like a real cat, waiting for someone to come home? Wouldn't that make you the master and me the pet? But you're clearly my subordinate." So she decided to pull herself together. "I'll wait standing, just like a master waiting for someone to return." But she was just too tired. A mere 10 minutes later, Lu Rian was leaning against a corner of the door, fast asleep. At 5:45, as you were walking down the hallway on your floor, you saw Emma standing by your front door from a distance. The sight immediately made you laugh. This cat is pretty proud, isn't she? You then picked her up and laughed. "How did you get out? Don't tell me you can open doors? You're amazing, Emma. Smart, just like me." But the moment Lu Rian was picked up, she snapped awake and expressed her intense displeasure. "Is this how you treat your CEO? And what's with Kitty? That name is so tacky. It's like naming a village dog, Fido." Although she was furious, she was powerless to resist. And just like that, after you opened the door, you put her on the floor and said, "We're home." Kitty. Hearing those words, Lu Rian scoffed disdainfully. This wasn't home at all. She was just here to gather information and, while she was at it, assess an employee's character. If you perform well, I might consider giving you a promotion. As for treating this place like home. She was a CEO. Was she really going to be kept as a pet? After getting inside, you opened a window for some air. You let the cool breeze blow in, clearing your mind for a moment. After a while, you crouched in front of Kitty and asked doubtfully. Where did you run off to yesterday? How did you get out? Where are my clothes? Instantly, Lu Rian's eyes flew wide open. She put on an innocent look. Why are you looking at me? I'm just a harmless little kitty. Seeing the pitiful-looking kitty, you couldn't help but reach out and gently stroke her head. But in the next second, Lu Rian immediately shot you a warning. Don't touch me, no petting. Of course, you knew that it's common for a cat you've just brought home not to let you touch it for a while. But you just had to push your luck. You immediately picked her up, and then pet her fur the wrong way. Since cats are very sensitive, having their fur brushed backwards is like waking up with your hair sticking out all over the place. It's incredibly uncomfortable, and after you finished your little prank, you just put her down and ran off. At that, Lu Rian glared daggers at you, her sharp claws unsheathed, murder already on her mind. This guy, he's nothing but a disgusting jerk. As expected, a cat's natural enemy is a dog. But she quickly tried to calm herself. Hua, calm down, don't get angry. She then began to groom her fur. At 9:30 at night, you went to take a shower. At that moment, Lu Rian was terribly thirsty, but she was repulsed by the sight of the water in the cat bowl. She wasn't a cat. How could she possibly drink from a cat bowl? Then, she looked up and happened to see your water glass. No, that's the glass you drank from. If she drank from it, wouldn't that be an indirect? Lu Rian looked at the cat bowl before her, and then at your glass on the table, hesitating for a long time. In the end, she still jumped onto the table and lowered her head, sticking it right into the glass to start drinking. After she drank her fill, Lu Rian shook her head happily. Then she looked at the glass, and then at her own paws. That disgusting jerk. Is he doing this on purpose? Refusing to treat me like a person? The next second, Lu Rian happily stuck her paw into the cup, letting you stroke it against the grain. Then you'll have to drink my foot washing water. However, her paw had just gone into the cup when you pushed the door open and came out. I'm so busted. Lu Rian tried to struggle free, but she found it was completely useless. So she braced herself for a beating, but you didn't raise a hand. You just looked at her and said gently, you can use this cup. But from now on, you're not allowed to use it to wash your feet. Hearing this, Lu Rian froze for a moment. However, just as a glimmer of fondness for you began to form, you gently petted her head. And you also stroked her chin, and even directly petted the base of her tail. This instantly made Lu Rian's heart race. You pervert. What do you think you're touching? Meow. She immediately cried out, intending to bite you. But instead, you just smiled and put her on the floor. It's just a little petting. Why be so stingy? How about I buy you some meat tomorrow? After Lu Rian was on the floor, she immediately hid under the sofa and refused to come out. She had never been touched by a man like this before. It made her both angry and ashamed. However, your teasing voice continued, Kitty. Don't be so petty. We have to spend the next 10+ years together, you know. I'm going to pet you in the future anyway, so what's the big deal about getting a few pets in early? Hearing this, Lu Rian meowed in anger. Who wants to spend over 10 years with you? I'm leaving tomorrow and never coming back. Meow, to think I was touched by a man I've only known for a day. For that little bit of information, this is a huge loss. Luckily, you didn't drag her out from under the sofa, but instead lay down on it, enjoying the evening breeze. You started browsing the news in the finance section until 10:30 at night. Only then did you get up to go to bed. After the living room fell completely silent, Lu Rian also decided to go outside for some fresh air. After all, she had been hiding under the sofa for so long. It wasn't comfortable. However, just as she peeked her head out, you got up and caught her. With a smile, you said, Alright, time to take you to bed. Hearing this, Lu Rian struggled with all her might. Let go of me. Who wants to sleep with you? Although she kept meowing non-stop, you paid her no mind at all, walking straight back to your room and lying down on the bed. Lu Rian tried to escape, but you held her down by her belly. The next second, Lu Rian opened her mouth to bite, but you held her chin with your index finger, and after scratching it gently a few times, it actually felt pretty good. Lu Rian was gradually getting used to the cat's body. When her chin was stroked, it felt as comfortable as a massage. Because her natural tsundere personality was at its peak, she still struggled desperately even though it felt good. There was absolutely no way she would sleep with this jerk. But you didn't understand what your kitty was really thinking. You thought she was playing with you, so you held her chin with one hand so she couldn't bite you, while your other hand went to stroke her belly, saying, We're going to be living together from now on. Be a little friendlier. I'll always dote on you. After all, you're a member of my family now. Listening to your soft words, Lu Rian's heart suddenly beat faster, and she grew even shyer. Then you shifted, pulling Lu Rian into your arms and whispering softly, Alright, good night, little kitty. This was the first time in her life she had ever been held by a man other than her father. At this moment, her heart was about to pound out of her chest, but this guy's grip was too strong. There was no way to break free. So, she decided to wait until you were fast asleep before quietly slipping away. But she waited for a full half an hour. You still weren't asleep, and you even stroked her head from time to time. This made Lu Rian a bit annoyed. Can't you just get to sleep already? Taking so long to fall asleep, could there be something wrong with his kidneys? After a while, you still hadn't fallen asleep. Instead, it was Lu Rian who drifted off first, sleeping until 5 in the morning. Lu Rian woke up in a daze. The next second, she was instantly stunned. How did I fall asleep? And I slept all the way until morning. At that thought, Lu Rian quickly covered her face with her hands. Wait, covering my face? That's not something a cat can do, is it? Lu Rian froze for 3 seconds before looking down. It was only then that she realized she had turned back into a human. The dry, smooth sheets, the slightly cool morning breeze, and your scent. In that moment, Lu Rian could hear her own heartbeat getting faster and faster. Her fair skin flushed a light pink with embarrassment. To think that she was a powerful female CEO in charge of a multi-hundred-billion-dollar enterprise. What kind of storm hadn't she weathered? She then forced herself to calm down. So what if it's the first time sleeping in the same bed with a guy? It's not a big deal. Then, she carefully turned over, her slender feet landing softly on the floor. Making almost no sound. After her 2 experiences as a cat, she now knew how to walk without a sound. But she was still extremely nervous. She didn't dare move too quickly, because the moment you opened your eyes, she would be completely exposed right in front of you. Fortunately, you didn't wake up by the time she reached the living room. She then quickly grabbed a piece of clothing from the balcony and threw it on, making sure she was covered before heading for the main door. As the lock on the doorknob was gently turned, a trace of excitement appeared on Lu Rian's beautiful face. Although she had successfully slipped away, she remained calm. She even remembered to grab a shoe to prop the door open, because she would have to come back again later. To put your clothes back and avoid arousing your suspicion. Just like that, Lu Rian left and headed straight next door. Once she was truly back in her own home, she finally let out a huge sigh of relief. Safe, for now. That scared me to death. This is way more nerve-wracking than managing billions in assets. After catching her breath, Lu Rian quickly changed back into her own clothes. She returned to your place again, quickly hung the clothes back up, and left once more. This time, she completely erased all her tracks. Bye-bye, you little brat. I'm never coming back. After leaving, Lu Rian made a face at your door. Didn't get any intel today. And I let that big oaf take advantage of me. Not to mention I actually slept in the same bed as that guy. What a total loss. I'm definitely never setting foot in here again. Even if I'm desperate, even if the company goes bankrupt. And don't live with this guy anymore. It was 8 in the morning. You woke up and glanced around you. Xiao am I? You called out. There was no answer. Still, you weren't worried. After all, there was food and water at home. She should be fine. And so, after a quick wash, you headed to the office. As it happened, today was Friday. Soon you could be lazing around at home, enjoying the weekend. In the office, Lu Rian picked up her cup for a drink of water, and was suddenly reminded of the time she had used your cup. She immediately felt annoyed. Why did this detestable man keep popping into her head? Snapping out of it, she seemed to have an idea. She called her assistant over and instructed, "A friend of mine wants to join a group to learn a bit about finance. Help her get into a group in the 3rd analysis department. Group 6 would be best. Oh, and don't you do it yourself. Have someone else handle the arrangements." Zheng Li looked puzzled. "Can't I do it?" Hearing this, Lu Rian's expression turned serious. "I'm worried they'll get the wrong idea and think we deliberately put her in there. The pressure on her would be immense." At that, understanding dawned on Zheng Li's face. She nodded repeatedly and said, "I understand. I'll go arrange it right away." However, the moment her assistant left, Lu Rian immediately picked up another phone and registered a new account. Then, she pressed the back of her hand against her face, forcing herself to calm down. The 3rd analysis department, Group 6, that was the group that odious man was in. After taking care of that, Lu Rian headed back to her apartment early, waiting for 5 o'clock to arrive. This time, however, she was prepared. She wanted to try to control the feeling of turning into a cat. But when the time to transform came again, her beautiful features contorted as she held on for just a few minutes before she couldn't take it anymore. She transformed back into a cat. But Lu Rian wasn't discouraged. Instead, she leapt onto the bed and began looking at her phone. Why haven't I been added to the group yet? I already sent the account information to Zheng Li. At that very moment, you had just returned home and called out, "Xiao am I? I'm home," but you got no reply. You then checked her food and water bowls, and saw no sign that they had been touched. You frantically started searching everywhere for her. That's when you realized the cat was missing. Did she run off again? You sighed, turned around, and went out to look for her. But after searching the entire hallway, you found no trace of her. Just as you were heading downstairs to continue the search, your phone vibrated. You pulled it out to look. It was a new message from Peng Hu in the company group chat. "Anyone want to go out for a drink? My treat. We can get some grilled lamb chops." Lu Rian also noticed the message. At 6 o'clock, the group leader had added her to the chat. He'd even made a special introduction, saying she was a new member there to learn. Everyone in the group gave her a warm welcome. She had wanted to reply, to play the part of a newcomer, but typing with her paws was too much of a hassle. So, she gave up on the idea. Fortunately, no one paid any attention to her silence. At that moment, she stared intently at the phone screen, observing the people in the group chat. Finally, a message from that stinky man appeared. Not going. The cat I have at home is missing. I'm looking for it. When Lu Rian saw this message, she was completely stunned. Is he looking for me? The next second, Lu Rian was lying on the edge of the bed, feeling a little smug. This is what you get for touching me whenever you want. Now you know how to worry, don't you? Then, she jumped onto the dining table and arrogantly ate the food that had been prepared for her. Even without hands, it was very easy to eat. After eating, she took a short nap. Around 9:30 in the evening, she woke up. She struggled to scroll through the messages with her paw, wanting to see if that stinky man had said anything else. But after scrolling through everything, there was nothing. She immediately felt a bit disappointed. Stinky man, don't you have hands? Why haven't you sent another message? Just then, a new message popped up. Brother Xiang, did you find a kitty? We're planning to head out for karaoke. Do you want to come with us? Still looking. You guys go ahead without me. Seeing the message he sent, the colleagues in the group were very surprised. 3 hours had already passed, and he was still looking. Even Lu Rian was stunned. This stinky man was still looking for her. Just then, a colleague named Xiaofu replied in the group. You've got to be kidding. Bro, there must be a ton of mosquitoes out there right now, right? Then, he sent a picture of his own leg. There were a full 32 mosquito bites on it. After sending the photo, he didn't forget to complain. At this point, you could say I'm a person who grew out of mosquito bites. Seeing this, Peng Hu was speechless. Stop looking. I'll just give you a cat. It's not the same. I found this one. It was my fault for not watching her properly. At that moment, seeing his devotion, the female colleagues in the group started to tease him. Brother Xiang, you're so responsible. Don't you really want a girlfriend? I'm willing to be yours. I'm available too. That's enough. I'm going to keep looking. You all just leave me be. I can't just let him get eaten alive by mosquitoes, can I? Lu Rian stared at the chat history, completely dumbfounded. In a daze, she felt a strange emotion stirring in her heart. It was a bit sour, yet also warm. It seemed he wasn't so terrible after all. Then, she rolled onto her back with her belly facing up, gazed at the ceiling, and thought. When will I finally be able to control this transformation? I'll set an alarm for 4:30 in the morning. I'll try to see if I can get a handle on it today. She waited until 11 at night. He had already been searching for nearly 5 hours, combing through every corner of the neighborhood. But he still couldn't find her and finally had to return home. He picked up his phone and sent a message to let them know he was safe. I'm home now. Don't worry about me, Peng Hu said comfortingly. Still haven't found her? Why not just buy a new one? But you, still unwilling to give up, replied. Let's talk about that later. Seeing this, Lu Rian wagged her tail. This darn man still had some conscience after all. He didn't rush to find a new cat to bring home. Just then, Xiao Fu asked with concern in the group chat. Brother Xiang, can I see your leg? 2.5 seconds later, a photo of a leg covered in bumps appeared in the group chat again. Although the welts from the mosquito bites had gone down a bit, his entire leg still had dozens of red bumps, big and small. Perhaps because the nightlife had ended, the colleagues in the group chat started to liven up. This is killing me. That leg looks like it's been through a war. I'm going to laugh myself sick. Just looking at that leg makes me itch. The mosquitoes should get on their knees and apologize to you. Even the team leader, who was usually not very active in the group, couldn't help but comment. Is that leg for real? But you replied with a completely calm expression. It's just a leg, and it's the one that wasn't bitten as badly. Although the colleagues in the group chat said they felt bad for him, they were actually laughing non-stop. But at this moment, Lu Rian felt something wasn't quite right. This man was usually quite clever. How could he be so foolish about something like this? If you can't find her, just go home. He's really so dumb. Lu Rian waited until almost 1 o'clock. The excitement in the group gradually died down, and she fell asleep along with it. The next morning, before the alarm clock went off, Lu Rian was already wide awake. It was just past 5 o'clock. The feeling of turning back into a human suddenly became intense. She was trying her best to suppress it. She managed to hold it back for a full 30 minutes without changing. It seemed that controlling the transformation from cat to human was easier. Suddenly, Lu Rian felt a bit excited. If she could really control when she turned human, maybe she could even go and stay with that darn man for a while. She endured it until noon. Lu Rian had already gotten used to that feeling. Until another day passed. When it was 5 in the morning, Lu Rian couldn't hold back this time. She changed straight back into a human. But she had also figured out the pattern. From 5 in the evening to 5 in the morning, she had to remain in her cat form. But during the day, she could choose for herself whether to be a cat or a human. Thinking of this, Lu Rian pursed her lips. Her 2 fair feet tapped against each other lightly. First, let's see what that man is busy with. He probably isn't still looking, right? Although she said this, when Lu Rian opened the chat interface, she still felt a little uneasy. She kept scrolling through the screen and soon saw a message from 11 o'clock yesterday morning. When someone asked Da Shang for some files, they also casually asked if he had found his cat. And he replied that he was still looking. What a fool. Lu Rian froze for a moment, then immediately muttered to herself. He's been searching for a whole day. It's still very hot during the day now. Especially with the sun beating down, it makes you feel quite uncomfortable. However, after Lu Rian finished scrolling through all the information about you, she finally discovered that you weren't just looking, you hadn't even gone home. You've been searching outside this whole time. This man is really quite pitiful. I'll go see him on Monday. After all, he's one of my own employees. How is this body supposed to help me make money? Lu Rian made a few excuses for herself. This helped her feel a bit more at ease. When Monday came and work was over, as soon as the elevator doors to your floor opened, you suddenly heard a cat meow. You froze for a moment. After walking out of the elevator, you saw a calico cat in the hallway just around the corner. Seeing this, you were completely stunned. However, Lu Rian was quite pleased to see your expression. Truth be told, plenty of people pursued her, but the more attentive they were, the more she disliked them. But you were different. You were low-key at work. And you were very kind to small animals. Of course, even if you behave well, you still can't touch me. I am your aloof boss, you know. Just as Lu Rian's inner drama was unfolding, she found herself suspended in midair. You were holding her by the scruff of her neck with a cold expression. Lu Rian immediately started to panic. Why does this guy have that kind of expression? Shouldn't he be excited? After you opened the door and went inside, you immediately started lecturing her. You've got some nerve, huh? Actually running away from home. Hearing this, Lu Rian felt a little guilty. I'm just a little kitty. I don't understand what you're saying. Suddenly, you touched her chin and wondered, do mosquitoes bite cats? Lu Rian was instantly dumbfounded. Before she could react, you took out your phone, looked it up, and said, what a pity. Cats have fur, so it seems mosquitoes don't like to bite them. But their noses should be fine. How about I catch a mosquito specifically to bite your nose? Lu Rian was completely flabbergasted by these words. This guy, to think he could come up with such an idea. I really shouldn't have thought he was a good person just because he went through so much trouble to find a cat. This guy is practically bursting with dog-like energy. You jerk. However, the next second, you thought for a moment and said again, number. You'll definitely struggle. It wouldn't be good if you got hurt. That's more like it. At least you have some conscience. However, just as Lu Rian was praising you in her mind, you spoke up again. I thought of a way to make you feel itchy. And you won't struggle so much that you hurt yourself. With that, you got up and picked up a piece of thread. Lu Rian froze at the sight. She wanted to resist, but as a cat, being held by the scruff of the neck, it was impossible to struggle. Fortunately, you just held up the thread to scare her a little. Seeing as you're young and just a cat, I'll let you off this time. Don't run off again. Do you have any idea how long I was looking for you? Or how many mosquito bites I got? Hearing this, Lu Rian let out a relieved meow. So you do have a heart after all. However, her relief lasted only half a second. You placed her on her stomach and started gently stroking her back with your hand. Instantly, Lu Rian's heart began to race. Who said you could just touch me? She turned her head, intending to bite you, but you reacted quickly and moved aside. Then, Lu Rian saw her chance and immediately scurried under the sofa. Phew, model. It seems coming back was a mistake. I shouldn't come back tomorrow. Cats and dogs just don't get along. And you didn't even talk to her. You ordered takeout, and you even went out of your way to buy 2 boxes of milk and a baby bottle. When 7 o'clock arrived, the takeout was delivered. You opened the milk and warmed it up a little. Then you poured it into the small bottle while Lu Rian hid under the sofa. Secretly watching all of this and smirking to herself, do whatever you want. If I let you feed me now, it'll be no problem at all to let you pet my head later. Who am I kidding? I'm a cat, after all. Under the sofa, I'm invincible. However, you didn't approach the sofa. Instead, you went to the bathroom first. Right after, you came out carrying a large basin of water. Just as Lu Rian was feeling confused, you started splashing water directly under the sofa. The tiled floor could handle a little water, after all. Lu Rian never would have thought you'd be so clever. She had originally planned to just grit her teeth and endure it for a while. But the water hitting her fur was really uncomfortable. In the end, she couldn't stand it anymore and rushed right out. She opened her mouth to bite you. You can't bully me like this. Neither of us is going to have a good day today. Meow. But you only took half a step back, and Lu Rian's pounce missed completely. Then you grabbed her by the scruff of her neck. You had already taken so many of her firsts. The first time a man held her paws, the first time a man patted her bottom, the first time a man gave her a full body massage. But she never thought that she would also be fed by a man for the first time. Right now, Lu Rian kept her mouth shut tight, refusing to drink, but you weren't in a hurry. You scratched her chin and said, eat up. You need to eat to get better. Good girl, open your mouth. But no matter how softly you spoke, She kept her mouth stubbornly closed. After trying for a few minutes, seeing that she wasn't cooperating, you simply used your fingers to pry her mouth open. Lu Rian immediately bit down, but she only nibbled gently with her side teeth. There was no real force behind it. The next second, you took the opportunity to shove the bottle into her mouth. As soon as the goat's milk went in, Lu Rian almost choked and swallowed instinctively. It's over. Lu Rian's expression immediately darkened. She had actually been fed by a man. And she drank it. This made Lu Rian's mental defenses suddenly crumble. Fine, I'll just drink more milk and make this cat body stronger. My claws and teeth need to be sharper. She swore she would bite you to death one day. After she finished the bottle, you put her aside, satisfied, and started working. Lu Rian quietly watched your project proposal from behind you. She watched for 2.5 hours. This guy's thought process is terrifyingly clear. He grasped the 3 key issues after just one look. He's so smart. If only he weren't such a jerk. Just as Lu Rian was lost in thought, she suddenly felt something press against her stomach. She snapped out of it and looked down. She was stunned. Your handsome face was buried right in her belly. And you were even nuzzling back and forth. From your perspective, it was rare for the kitten to not resist, so naturally you weren't going to miss this chance to get your cat fix. That soft touch was so soothing. You, however, were relaxed. But the cat, Lu Rian, had frozen solid, all 4 legs stiffly suspended in the air. She was completely at a loss. She felt like her heart was going to pound out of her chest. A man's face was actually nuzzling her belly. For a rookie who'd never even been in a relationship, this kind of intimate contact was simply too much to bear. After being dazed for 2.5 seconds, Lu Rian began to struggle desperately. You scoundrel, let go of me, meow. Next second, her paws unceremoniously slapped at your face. Fortunately, she wasn't vicious enough to scratch you. Seeing her resort to violence, you righteously began to reason with her. As your owner, what's wrong with me giving you a little kiss? Owner? Does being an owner mean you can just kiss your cat whenever you want? Don't cats have rights? Are you related to a husky or something? After complaining for a bit, Lu Rian finally realized something was off. What owner? She was the CEO of the Kunkin Group. You're the employee here. Perhaps it was the recent intimate gesture that threw Lu Rian's thoughts into chaos, so she decided it was best to hide under the coffee table for now. You, however, looked at the cat under the table and said, a couple of kisses won't make you shed. Don't be so stingy, HMPH. Lu Rian immediately rolled her eyes and even huffed loudly to intimidate you. Seeing the cat's intense reaction, you just spread your hands in a shrug. It's the first time, after all. It's normal to be a little excited. You'll get used to it. It's fine. I'll give you time. Hearing this, Lu Rian looked utterly bewildered. If you don't know how to talk, then just shut up. 10 minutes passed. You cut up a watermelon from the kitchen and started enjoying it by yourself, while Lu Rian hid under the front of the coffee table, trying to calm herself down. But the moment she thought about how she, a CEO, had been reduced to this, while you were just an employee, a mere poop scooper at best, who was now leisurely eating watermelon and watching a movie, Lu Rian couldn't stomach the anger and decided then and there to bite you. Then, she would quickly dart back under the coffee table. Best case scenario, she'd make the watermelon in your hand fall to the ground. She pictured you watching the watermelon smash to pieces, a look of complete annoyance on her face. A wave of secret delight washed over Lu Rian. In that instant, she launched her surprise attack. But you had already noticed the movement. You gently lifted your foot and pinned her back to the floor. The expression on Lu Rian's face vanished instantly. She was sure of it now. You were her lifelong nemesis. The next second, you picked her up by the scruff of her neck, lifting her up as you said, "Who taught you to fight so dirty? Taught you to pull cheap shots like that?" As you finished speaking, you placed the cat on the sofa, holding her down with one hand while stroking her chin with the other. You stroked her for a full 40 minutes, until she finally couldn't take it anymore. This blasted man. So you like stroking chins, do you? Just you wait. We'll see how I use my CEO status to stroke your chin tomorrow. And you like splashing water, don't you? Lu Rian had made up her mind. Between her and this blasted man, one of them had to die before this matter could be considered settled. It was a long wait until 10:30 at night. You finished your shower and were ready for bed. Lu Rian had thought she could escape her fate by hiding under the sofa, but you found her anyway. You're sleeping with me. With that, you scooped up the cat and carried her into the bedroom. You even made a point to lock the door from the inside. And just like that, a person and a cat were lying on the bed. Lu Rian caught the faint scent of your body wash. She quickly tried to steady her breathing and calm herself down. I absolutely cannot fall asleep tonight. Once he's sound asleep, I'll hide under the bed and wake up at 4:40 in the morning. However, after just 5 minutes, Lu Rian's breathing became even and slow. She had drifted off to dreamland. When she opened her eyes again, Lu Rian controlled her breathing and turned her head to look at you. Your hair fell naturally across your cheek as you slept, making you look gentle and handsome. The next second, a blush instantly crept up Lu Rian's face. She quickly looked away, preparing to get out of bed. But just as she lifted the comforter, she found your hand resting right on her stomach. And she wasn't a cat anymore. Lu Rian could feel the warmth of your body and your large palm. In just 3 seconds, her face turned visibly red. You rotten man, where do you think you're putting your paws? In the end, she could only let out a helpless sigh. Forget it, this isn't the first time something like this has happened with that. She gently lifted your hand away. She turned, opened the door, and left the room. Just like last time, she snuck a piece of your clothing, went next door to change, and then returned to hang your clothes back up. After gently closing the door, she leaned her back against the slightly cool wood. Only then did the blush on Lu Rian's neck slowly begin to fade. Damn man, Lu Rian muttered, biting her lip. She whispered it under her breath, then got up and went downstairs. At 7:30 in the morning, you woke up. You habitually reached out to the spot beside you, only to find it empty. You called out her name, but there was no response. You got out of bed and searched everywhere, but still couldn't find her. So that little rascal really can open doors. Ever since Kitty's last escape, you had your suspicions. To think she could actually unlock a door. Looks like I'll have to take precautions before bed from now on. At that moment, Lu Rian was back in her office. She tidied her hair. Suddenly, she remembered you touching her yesterday and for more than 2 hours straight. The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. With a blank expression, Lu Rian took out her phone and started searching. Can a cat bite a dog to death? Oh, wait. Biologically speaking, Da Shang is still considered a human, not a purebred dog. So, Lu Rian silently changed dog to person. Can a cat bite a person to death? The search results all said no. Despite this, Lu Rian licked her rosy lips and sent a message to her best friend, Huang Ruha. If you wanted to get revenge on a man, what would you do? Huang Ruha, sensing a juicy piece of gossip, immediately replied with curiosity. Who is it? Do I know him? Is he handsome? Reading that, Lu Rian blushed and replied through gritted teeth. There's nothing between me and him, especially no physical contact. Do you understand? Hearing this, Huang Ruha said in disbelief. You two were already physical. When I ask you a question, you just answer. You're not allowed to ask me any more questions. Fine, if it were me, I'd make him fall in love with me, and then I'd dump him. Hearing this answer, Lu Rian was stunned. She had absolutely no experience in this area. Just then, Huang Rua's gossipy voice piped up again. You have a thing for him, don't you? If you really want to get revenge, you can come to me. I'll teach you. No, thank you. After saying that, Lu Rian put down her phone and fanned her face with her hand. Once the blush on her cheeks faded, she told her assistant to prepare for the upcoming seminar. Meanwhile, you got to the office and were about to get up for some water. Just as you were leaving your desk, the team leader walked over and said, Everyone, listen up. There's a seminar at 8:30, and our team needs someone to attend. I hear Lu Dai will be there, too. Anyone want to go? This kind of seminar is an incentive for top performers, but for everyone else. It's not very useful, so none of the colleagues were really interested in going. While everyone was murmuring, Peng Hu shot up from his seat and raised his hand high. Seeing this, the team leader looked at Peng Hu, surprised. You want to go? I'm nominating Da Shang. As he said that, Peng Hu gloated inwardly. As the #1 shipper for this couple, I've got to make a move. First, I'll create an opportunity for Da Shang and Lu Rian to meet. Who knows, maybe something will actually happen between them. And just like that, the team leader submitted your name to the department. A little while later, Peng Hu saw you strolling back and rushed over, saying, Brother Shang, I've got some great news for you. You're going to a seminar in a little bit, and Lu Dai is going to be there too. This is your chance. You look really handsome today. You don't even need to try. Hearing this, you froze for 2 seconds, then asked doubtfully, You sign me up? I don't want to, but before you could finish, Peng Hu cut in with a cheeky grin. Brother Shang, you're the most handsome guy in our company. Just go and show your face. Lu Dai will definitely be impressed. You never know, this could be your big chance. Besides, the team leader has already submitted the list. Hearing this, you could only shake your head in resignation. Since your boy Peng Hu sold you out, you had to make him bleed a little. And so, you traded a 20-minute seminar for a hot pot dinner. When the meeting began, Lu Rian walked into the conference room with Chen Li. Everyone stood up and greeted Lu Dai in unison. Lu Rian, with a calm expression, scanned the room. Just as she was about to tell everyone to be seated, she suddenly spotted you in the crowd. She froze. What was that jerk doing here? The moment those words were spoken, the entire conference room, including you, froze in unison. It only took a second for Lu Rian to snap out of her surprise. Her face immediately regained its composure. It's nothing. I just remembered my dog. Come on, sit down. Let's start the meeting. Although her expression was composed, a faint blush crept up her neck. She never expected to run into that jerk on an occasion like this. As the meeting officially began, the top-performing employees were passionately presenting their cases, but Lu Rian was somewhat distracted. The memory of your gentle touch kept flashing through her mind. The embarrassment was unforgettable. She was sitting at the head of the conference room, while you were in the corner. The two of you were far apart, but for some reason, just the thought of being in the same room as that jerk made her heart race. Fortunately, the short 20-minute meeting passed quickly. After saying a few brief words, Lu Ruyan declared the meeting adjourned. Afterward, Lu Ruyan's gaze swept across the room, but in reality, the only face she saw clearly was that jerk's. After watching you leave, she turned and walked out of the conference room. The moment she stepped out, Lu Ruyan felt a sense of relief, but at the same time, she felt an inexplicable trace of disappointment. Just then, Shen Li, who was behind her, suddenly asked, "Do you want me to look up some information on that employee who was sitting in the corner?" During the 20-minute meeting, you glanced at him 15 times. Hearing this, Lu Ruyan froze. I looked at him 15 times? Was it really that often? But Lu Ruyan quickly composed herself and replied, I just thought he looked familiar, that's all. That's why I looked a few extra times. But I must have been mistaken. Hearing this, Shen Li's face lit up with understanding. Oh, I see. I thought you were interested in him. How could I be? Lu Ruyan's voice unconsciously rose a little. The usually calm Lu Ruyan now seemed exceptionally flustered. Meanwhile, you had returned to your desk. Peng Hu asked with a look of anticipation, so? How was it? Did you see Director Lu? Did your heart start pounding? Hearing this, you thought for a moment and answered, I saw her. But I was too busy looking at my phone and listening to the presentations to feel anything else. My ship has sunk, Peng Hu sighed, looking disappointed. You couldn't suppress the grin spreading across your face. It's okay. Even if you've lost your dream, I've won myself a hot pot dinner. We both have a bright future ahead of us. Around 6:10, you stepped out of the elevator onto your floor. At that moment, you felt a little nervous, wondering if Xiao Amai had come back. You were hoping to hear the cat meowing, but even as you perked up your ears and walked to your front door, you didn't hear a thing. Could it be she's not back? At that thought, you sighed. Then, you used your fingerprint to open the door. But the moment it swung open, you froze. A calico cat was scratching the sofa. There were watermarks next to the water cup on the table. It wasn't hard to guess what happened. The cat had used its water bowl to wash its paws again. But didn't the cat go out this morning? You were instantly baffled. However, when Lu Ruyan saw the bewildered look on your face, she gloated inwardly. This stupid man. He'd never guess I cracked the password to his place, would he? Before work ended, Lu Ruyan had specifically logged into the human resources system to look up your file. And just as she expected, the password to your home was your birthday. So, after her shift ended at exactly 4 in the afternoon, she went straight to your house and let herself in. Once inside, the more she thought about it, the more she felt she couldn't stand being pushed around by you any longer. So she deliberately wrecked your sofa and then went on a rampage of destruction. Although she figured you might yell at her, she decided to have her fun first and deal with the consequences later. At this moment, you paused for a few seconds before closing the door. Then you changed into your slippers and walked over. Seeing this, Lu Ruyan tensed up a bit. But she didn't back away, bracing herself for the furious tongue-lashing she knew was coming. However, when you reached her, you just crouched down, stroked her head, and said, I thought you'd run off again. Don't just go running outside. When I couldn't find you this morning I missed you. Hearing those words, Lu Ruyan's heart suddenly started racing. The next second, she looked up and let out a huff. You idiot, she cursed at you. What nonsense are you spouting? Who said I wanted you to miss me? Looking at the feisty little cat, you chuckled softly. You should be more polite to your master. As you said that, the cat's fur instantly stood on end, but you quickly pressed down on the nape of her neck. You rubbed her head. I'm so good to you. And you still get all bristly? I even ordered you takeout and bought you meat. Bought me meat and that's it? He just told me not to run off and didn't even blame me? Lu Ruyan was completely stunned. Asterisk that jerk. I washed my feet in your cup. And I clawed your sofa to shreds. Shouldn't you be flying into a rage? Just as Lu Ruyan was frozen in a daze, you put down your phone and looked at the cat again. Go ahead, keep scratching. If it's broken, we'll just get a new one. And the cup is yours now. You can use it just for washing your feet. Hearing this, Lu Ruyan froze for a moment, then hissed at you before turning and running off. She hid in a corner, staring daggers at you. She couldn't believe it. She had gone to so much trouble, tiring her paws out just to see that look of heartbroken anger on your face. Just the thought of your expression had made Lu Ruyan feel vindicated. But in the end, you weren't angry at all. This, in turn, made her feel dejected. An indescribable feeling welled up inside her heart. Ever since she could remember, Lu Ruyan's family had been exceptionally strict with her. And she lived up to their expectations, learning and growing exactly as they had planned for her. In the end, she finally became a chairman, but deep down, she wasn't happy at all. Who made the rule that men must bear all the responsibility, and women can't be wild? That students can't be rebellious? However, by the time Lu Ruyan realized all this, she had already understood how massive the Kun Kun group was and had grown accustomed to her status. But this jerk in front of her, he seemed different. She could actually feel a hint of affection in his words. Even though I messed up, you didn't scold me. Just like the other day. I'm just a stray cat, but you kept looking for me. She couldn't understand why you did that. And the more curious she got, the stronger that strange feeling became, leaving Lu Rian completely flustered. Just then, the takeout you ordered arrived. After taking the meat, you went into the kitchen to cook it for a bit. Meanwhile, Xiao, who was watching from the side, secretly glanced at you and suddenly felt a little more at ease. 15 minutes later, the meat was cooked. You put on some gloves, shredded the meat, and waited for it to cool down completely. Then you picked up a piece and held it out to Xiao. Here you go, be a good girl. Open up and eat something. However, from her point of view, she had a perfect view of your sharp jawline and the faint outline of your abs. It was a little too much for her to handle, and she quickly averted her gaze. This is all an illusion. Even if this guy isn't bad looking, it doesn't change the fact that he's just some guy. I can't let myself be charmed by him. Lu Rian firmly resisted the thought. 2 minutes later, you looked at the kitten, confused, and asked, "Are you not feeling well? You've barely touched your food and only drank a little water. Should I take you to the vet for a checkup?" But the next second, the kitten scrambled away, completely ignoring you. But you didn't push it. You just got up and put the leftover meat in the fridge. She can eat it when she's hungry. If she still doesn't eat by tomorrow, then I can take her to the vet. It should be fine. With that thought, you lay down on the sofa and started watching a movie. Meanwhile, Lu Rian curled up nearby, planning to take a little nap, so she wouldn't oversleep past 5 a.m. again. Soon, Lu Rian fell into a deep sleep. She had a dream. In the dream, you were stroking her head, and she was actively nuzzling against your hand. That feels so nice and possible. Lu Rian's eyes snapped open. It was still dark outside. It was 4:30 in the morning. Still a little while before she had to be up. Lu Rian sat up and stared blankly at you, sleeping soundly. A hint of existential confusion flickered in her eyes. She didn't even realize you had carried her to the bed last night. Have I completely let my guard down around this guy? And what's even more terrifying is that I had that kind of dream. I refuse to accept this. Dreams are the opposite of reality. It's all this jerk's fault. He must have been touching me while I was asleep to make me dream that. The next second, an angry Lu Rian leapt up and landed right on your stomach. However, you didn't even open your eyes. Still half asleep, you reached out, grabbed her 2 little paws, and mumbled, "Stop messing around, go to sleep." At this, Lu Rian struggled for a bit, but ended up accidentally biting your hand. The moment she did, Lu Rian instantly regretted it. Her tongue had touched your hand. Wasn't that basically licking him? The bite woke you up a little. You gently patted her tail. "Don't bite. That hurts." Hearing this, Lu Rian grumbled in dissatisfaction. "What hurts? I wasn't even using any force." Just then, you suddenly placed her on your stomach. Then you covered her with the blanket and went back to sleep for a bit. And Lu Rian, lying on you, could clearly hear your breathing and your heartbeat. She had originally planned to tease you a bit more, but in the end, she just lay there without moving. At 7:30 in the morning, you got up before even opening your eyes. You just fumbled around with both hands. Seeing this, Lu Rian lifted her head. She let out a disdainful meow, as if to say, "Stop looking, you look like an idiot. I'm right here on your stomach." After a while, the human and the cat got up one after another. After you went to the bathroom to wash up and came out, Lu Rian pretended to eat a few bites of the meat mixed cat food. "This guy, I'm trying to eat here. I reject your petting." However, her worst fear came true. She saw you walk over and stroke her head. "Just be a good girl and eat." Instantly, Lu Rian's fur stood on end, and she took a few steps back. Seeing this, you shook your head. "Still not used to me, huh?" About 10 minutes after you left, Lu Rian changed back into her human form. A faint blush appeared on her snow-white skin as her beautiful eyes stared at the door, filled with a hint of suppressed anger. "That jerk, always touching me whenever he feels like it. Just you wait. One of these days, I'll tie you up and pet you until you go bald." And so, another item was added to Lu Rian's revenge plan. Tie this guy up and pet him. At the thought of that scene, Lu Rian suddenly broke into a faint smile. How delightful. Every time she thought about teasing this jerk, she felt exceptionally happy. Happier than ever before. After resting for a moment, Lu Rian took some of the cat food and poured out some of the water. Then, she wet the cat litter with water so you wouldn't suspect she was gone during the day. She skillfully put on your clothes, returned to the apartment next door, and changed into her own. Afterwards, she calmly opened your door and hung the clothes back on the rack. After making sure there were no flaws in her plan, she went downstairs and left. At 9:30, Lu Rian arrived at the company. She returned to her office on the top floor. Just then, Chen Li came over to give her daily work report. She looked at Lu Rian and said, "You're looking very well. Did something fun happen yesterday?" Hearing this, Lu Rian froze. Something fun? With that brute? How could anything be fun? I was just getting drained, petted, and bothered. At these thoughts, a flash of annoyance crossed Lu Rian's face. She then bit her lip gently and said, "Number. It was all just a hassle. Never mind, you can get back to work." I probably shouldn't have asked. After Chen Li left, Lu Rian lowered her head and started to work. After all, the National Day holiday was just around the corner. If that jerk was at home, it would be a hassle for her to turn back into a human to handle company business. So she tried to get as much done as she could. But not more than a few minutes passed. The office door opened, and Huang Ruha walked in. She was carrying a gift bag. "My dad asked me to bring you this Patek Philippe. We made a lot this time." However, Lu Rian didn't care. "Just put it on the table. Help me thank your uncle." Hearing this, Huang Ruha walked over to Lu Rian's side, pretending to look hurt. "So after more than 10 years of friendship, I'm still not as important as that man? Is that it?" However, Lu Rian looked at Huang Ruha and suddenly said, "Touch my hair." Huang Ruha was instantly stunned. "Huh? Don't you hate it when people touch you? Are you trying to set me up? Just touch it if I tell you to." Seeing Lu Rian's serious expression, Huang Ruha hesitated. Because ever since middle school, Lu Rian had suddenly developed a dislike for being touched by others. Back then, a female classmate accidentally touched her hair, and Lu Rian was in a foul mood for 3 days. But in the end, Huang Ruha still placed her hand on Lu Rian's head. However, after just a moment of contact, Lu Rian flinched back. Escaping from Huang Rua's hand, she knew very well in her heart that she still didn't like people touching her. If she were a cat and let Huang Ruha pet her head, she would find it completely unacceptable. She would have to leave the very next day. But why wasn't she repulsed when that dog of a man patted her head? Why did she even have that kind of dream? Before she could figure it out, Huang Ruha seemed to have guessed something. She then asked in surprise, "He touched her head?" Lu Rian immediately denied it loudly, "No." Seeing this, Huang Ruha looked thrilled. "You totally reacted. Something's up with you. Hurry up and tell me. What is your relationship? Classmates? Or colleagues?" For a moment, Lu Rian was at a loss. Colleagues, superior and subordinate, master and cat. The moment she thought of the word master, a faint blush immediately spread across Lu Rian's fair cheeks. Then, she gritted her teeth and answered, "Enemies. One of us must die." Hearing this, Huang Ruha was taken aback. "Wow, your feelings run that deep? I don't think you really hate him. You just don't want to admit it to yourself." However, Lu Rian seriously retorted, "No, that's not it. I don't have a single good feeling about him." Hearing this, Huang Ruha thought for a moment, then slowly asked, "If someone were to bully this person, what would you do?" In a daze, Lu Rian's mind imagined that dog of a man turning into an actual dog, and her pinning him to the ground to pet his head. Then she'd force him to eat dog food. At this thought, Lu Rian couldn't help but laugh out loud. Just imagining the scene made her happy. However, the next second, Huang Ruha threw out another question. "What if you were called a good-for-nothing by someone else, model? You're happy even when you get hit?" In that instant, Lu Rian's smile suddenly froze. Seeing this, Huang Ruhu's eyes lit up and she escalated the question. "Let's assume he's a very dedicated worker. But his boss scolds him, and it's obvious the boss is deliberately targeting him. What would you do?" Although Lu Rian's beautiful face was expressionless, the knuckles of the hand she was gripping her pen with had already turned white. He talked back to the boss. But it was useless. The boss docked all of his pay, and even slapped him twice. His co-workers are all laughing at him. Huang Ruhu said it as if it were real. Suddenly, with a loud snap, Lu Rian's eyes turned icy as she violently slammed the pen on the desk. The icy aura she gave off instantly made Huang Ruhu shiver in fear. But Lu Rian was also startled by her own actions. After coming to her senses, she was completely stunned. Beside her, however, Huang Ruhu was ecstatic. "See? You don't really dislike him at all. You're such a tsundere. What if I said he's pursuing you now? That he wants to date you? Would you be willing?" Cough, cough. This sudden question made Lu Rian choke. She couldn't help but press her legs tightly together. After a moment, Lu Rian slowly began to speak, saying, "That would never happen." Seeing this, Huang Ruhu's interest was piqued. Why not? Because the dog wouldn't be interested in a human. Lu Rian silently sniped to herself, before saying calmly, "He probably doesn't think I'm anything special." As the words left her mouth, the corner of Lu Rian's lips twitched slightly, a hint of grievance she herself didn't even notice welling up inside her. She recalled the scene from the meeting that day. All the other employees were sneaking glances at her. Only that man was sitting there, playing on his phone. Is his phone really that interesting? Lu Rian later thought about it carefully. She figured that man probably genuinely didn't find her attractive. However, when Huang Ruhu heard this answer, she wasn't just shocked, she was in utter disbelief. You have to understand, Lu Rian had exquisite features and a fantastic figure. Especially her waist and legs, so beautiful that even Huang Ruhu, a woman, wanted to touch them. How could anyone think Lu Rian wasn't attractive? Huang Ruhu was stunned for a full 5 seconds before she finally said, "Absolutely impossible." Lu Rian continued in a dejected tone. Maybe he just has bad eyesight. He'll probably go blind after he turns 40. Then get a little closer. Let him get a good look at you. Hearing this, Lu Rian looked at Huang Ruhu coldly. She could no longer tell if she was being sarcastic or sincere. But she was very certain of one thing. That man thought she wasn't attractive. Yes, the bad eyesight was just an excuse. Seeing this, Huang Ruhu threw up her hands in surrender. I'm done with my questions for today. I'll go back and organize my thoughts. I'll ask you more next time. With that, Huang Ruhu casually grabbed a few good walnuts from the table and left. Meanwhile, Lu Rian ruffled her hair in frustration and then called for her assistant. She instructed him to have all department managers attend an internal meeting. To strengthen interdepartmental cooperation and put a stop to workplace bullying. Later, at 6:30 in the evening, when you got home, you saw, contrary to all expectation, the Calico cat lying obediently on the sofa. You know, just yesterday, that little rascal wouldn't stop tearing up the couch. Then, as you were changing your shoes, you smiled and asked, "Xiao am I? Were you missing me all by yourself at home?" Hearing this, Lu Rian scoffed. Miss you? You mean miss your nasty dog smell? However, you had no idea what Xiao am I was really thinking. After you changed your shoes and clothes, you immediately pounced onto the sofa and hugged the cat, taking a deep whiff of her fur. But the moment you touched her, Lu Rian's body tensed up slightly. Now she was absolutely sure. She wasn't that repulsed when you petted her head. And it wasn't just when she was a cat. She had secretly thought about it this afternoon. If she were in her human form and Da Shang were to pat her head, she probably wouldn't be repulsed either. She must have been forced to get used to it. In the end, Lu Rian could only come up with an excuse to console herself. Just then, you received a text from your mother. Any plans for National Day? Are you coming home? You've been at your new job for over 3 months now. You haven't come home once. The holiday is a time for family to be together. But, considering your parents had always lived in the countryside and had never really visited a big city, you decided to have them come visit you in the city for a few days. After you finished texting, you looked at the somewhat distracted Lu Rian and said, "My parents are coming over for National Day. They're really nice, so you don't have to worry about them." As soon as you said that, Lu Rian was instantly stunned. What? Your parents are coming here? Lu Rian was suddenly overcome with panic. In reality, she had met plenty of elders. In the wealthy circles of the capital, she had met all the big names. Those people were at least 57, all of them elders, but she had never felt nervous around any of them. The thought of meeting her parents made her heart flutter with anxiety. Calm down, I'm just a cat, that's right, even if I do meet his parents. It doesn't mean anything. Lu Rian tried to calm herself. After a few minutes, Lu Rian was still a bit on edge. On top of that, there was a strange sense of disappointment. Meeting this man's parents as a cat. Even if they did meet, once she turned back into a human, she wouldn't have any real connection with him or his parents. Maybe I should just confess to him and get it over with. Her thoughts had been a mess these past few days. Just tell him number. What if I tell him and he can't accept it? Just as Lu Rian was hesitating, 2 hands suddenly pressed against her back. Then, the hands started rubbing vigorously along her fur. Your movements were so quick, even a professional masseur would have to praise your technique. Lu Rian, on the other hand, was rubbed into a complete daze. Are you trying to start a fire by rubbing my fur? Are you trying to rub me to death? You rubbed her for 5 seconds straight before stopping, and said with a well-meaning look, "Well, your fur was all puffed up anyway. I'm just helping you smooth it out." Facing your every word just reeked of jerk. A murderous glint slowly appeared in Lu Rian's eyes. She had a new plan. Hey, what a joke. Confess, my ass. She was going to take this man down with her today. No one's getting out of this alive. You bastard. With a meow, Lu Rian pounced right at you. She didn't care if she ended up licking you. She was determined to bite you to death. Of course, you knew she wouldn't use her claws, so you just smiled and started playing with her. And so, the human and the cat played for over 10 minutes. Lu Rian finally got tired. She had been petted all over, and still hadn't managed to bite the man. She then turned, jumped onto the sofa, walked to the balcony, and lay down, not wanting to deal with you anymore. Seeing this, you followed her, sitting on the floor next to the cat. What's wrong? In a bad mood? How about I give you an extra cat treat tonight? I also bought some freeze-dried food. It's arriving tomorrow. Hearing this, Lu Rian just casually flicked her tail. Her eyes didn't even open. Seeing this, you reached out to pet her head. However, Lu Rian remained expressionless and didn't try to dodge this time. But in her mind, she was thinking, just wait until you're asleep. Then we'll see how I bite you. After a full day at work, coming home, petting you, just spacing out. Felt so relaxing. You could kill time however you wanted. Do whatever you wanted to do. Seeing how comfortable you looked, Lu Rian wagged her tail, suddenly feeling not so annoyed anymore. Because she quite liked this kind of life, too. But just as the thought crossed her mind, you suddenly pinched both her ears and pulled them up. In that instant, Lu Rian felt the sensation of tying a ponytail. When the hair tie is way too tight, like her whole scalp was being pulled together. Lu Rian immediately complained and glared fiercely at you. How could she have just mistakenly thought she liked this life? No, this peaceful life was just an illusion. She and this damn man were irreconcilable enemies. Soon, it was the day before National Day, which was also the day your parents were planning to come over. At 6:30, you got home first, just like usual. The moment you walked in, Lu Rian was so startled she jumped back. She thought your parents had arrived. Thankfully, it was just that damn man. Just then, you walked over to her and said with a smile, "My parents will be here soon. I'll let you meet them. Don't be nervous. They're very nice people." Hearing this, Lu Rian gave a disdainful smile. Me? Scared? What a joke. I've seen it all. With that, Lu Rian turned and headed for the balcony. She planned to take a little nap first. This was such a small matter. Not only was she not nervous, she was even in the mood for a nap. But she had only taken 2 steps when she heard the damn man's voice. "Kitty, why are you walking with your arm and leg on the same side moving together? You just had to notice, didn't you? If you have nothing good to say, then shut up." Instantly, Lu Rian was both furious and embarrassed. She turned back and hissed at you. Then she ran to the balcony. Seeing this, you just smiled. Then, you went and tidied up a room. At 1/4 past the hour, you heard footsteps in the hallway and quickly got up to open the door. Outside stood a man and a woman. The man's name was Su Dahai. He wore glasses, had a head of half-white hair, and a kind face. The woman was Zhao Li. She had a few wrinkles on her face, but she had a rosy complexion. Overall, they both seemed very easygoing. But even so, as Lu Rian looked at the 2 people at the door, she couldn't help but feel a little nervous for some reason. And just like that, you helped your parents with their luggage and showed them into the room. From the moment your parents saw you, they were fussing over you, asking how you've been. Finally, after about half an hour, once Zhao Li had rested for a bit, she looked at the cat on the sofa. "Oh, how beautiful. These little kitties are the cutest. So pretty, and they look so healthy," Zhao Li said as she walked towards Lu Rian. Seeing her approach, Lu Rian nervously backed away a few steps. Even as a cat, she hated being touched. You were the only exception, you scumbag who's more than 50% jerk. You don't even count as a person. You're a special case. Just then, you walked over with a smile and said, "Mom, don't touch her. She's a stray, so she might not be used to strangers." Hearing this, Zhao Li looked a little disappointed. "Alright then, I'll go start on dinner. You two must be hungry." With that, Zhao Li went into the kitchen. But just a moment later, a scolding voice came from inside. "This kitchen of yours, it doesn't look like you cook in here very often. Throw away all these takeout bags. I've told you before, always eating takeout is unhealthy and it's not clean. When you have some free time, at least cook yourself a bowl of noodles. Don't be so lazy." Perhaps because it had been so long, ever since Zhao Li saw you, it seemed like she had an endless stream of things to say. Meanwhile, Su Dahai stood by with a smile and said to you, "Your mother really missed you." And Lu Rian, off to the side, "Listen to your family's conversation. This scumbag's parents, they seem pretty nice. How could they have given birth to a jerk with such a high scumbag rating like Da Shang?" She was very confused. In less than half an hour, the aroma of fried bean sauce filled the air. Soon, Zhao Li quickly brought out 3 bowls of noodles, but then she realized there wasn't a portion for the cat. So she asked, "What does the little kitty eat?" Hearing this, you chuckled. Usually just cat food with a little bit of meat. But she doesn't have a set mealtime. She just eats whenever she's hungry. You don't need to worry about her. Hearing this, Zhao Li shot you a sharp glare. She must have learned that from you. I've told you so many times, eating at regular times is good for your digestion. But you just won't listen. All the while, Lu Rian was listening from the side. "I suddenly feel so much better. That jerk. So you get scolded sometimes too, huh, Mom?" Well said. And you, faced with your mother's nagging, could only throw up your hands helplessly. "I'll try my best." Then, you picked up your chopsticks and stirred the noodles. The rich aroma of the sauce mixed with the fragrance of minced meat evenly coated every single strand of noodle. Steam and fragrance wafted up to your face. Right after, you started to wolf down the noodles, an expression of pure satisfaction instantly appearing on your face. It was the same familiar taste. However, just then, Zhao Li suddenly asked, "Are you seeing anyone?" Hearing this, Lu Rian's ears twitched. You bit off a mouthful of noodles and shook your head no. Seeing this, Zhao Li started to look a little anxious. "You're not getting any younger. It's time you found a partner. When I was your age, you were already 1 year old." Lu Rian froze for a moment. Why did that sound so familiar? It was as if her own mother had said something similar. Oh, dear. Same world, same mom. However, you just continued to eat your noodles and said calmly, "What's the rush? I'm not in a hurry. If you get into a relationship, at least you'll have someone to take care of you. If I wanted someone to take care of me, I could just hire a caregiver. Why would I need to be in a relationship for that? Besides, There's a problem with your premise, that a girlfriend is inherently supposed to take care of me. Or that a boyfriend is inherently supposed to spend money on his girlfriend. I want my life to be my own, not controlled by other people's expectations. Faced with your eloquence, and since they were your true feelings, Zhao Li was left speechless for a moment. Meanwhile, Lu Rian stared at your back, a little dazed. Can that brat read minds or something? Because the things you just said were things she had also wanted to say when she was 12, but she never did back then. And today, you, this brat, actually said them all out loud. Listening to your words, Lu Rian unexpectedly felt a sense of liberation. That strange feeling in her heart grew clearer and stronger. As for Zhao Li, after hearing your words, she was momentarily speechless. Just then, Su Dehai chimed in with his support. Da Shang is right, we chose each other freely. Why do you always have to meddle in the kid's love life? Then, Su Dehai looked at you. Although I support you, you can at least tell us what kind of girl you like, right? Hearing this, Lu Rian immediately whipped her head around to stare intently at you, despite putting on a proud, aloof front. What does the kind of girl that brat likes have to do with me? She thought, and yet, her ears still quietly perked up. Faced with your dad's question, you paused for a moment. I guess someone who's a lot like me. Someone who does what she wants, instead of living based on what others think. Hearing this answer, Lu Rian's tail stopped wagging. She lay on the floor, somewhat dazed. The type of girl that brat liked seemed to be completely different from her. But when she was 12, she had also dreamed of being that kind of person. Would her personality be okay? Wait a minute, what does her personality have to do with any of this? Suddenly, Lu Rian snapped out of it and immediately bristled. She wasn't interested in that brat. Why was she comparing herself to his ideal type? Something's definitely not right. Lu Rian immediately turned her head. She cursed in your direction with a meow. Then she turned and ran to the balcony, hiding under a chair. She didn't want to listen to that brat's nonsense anymore. It was just making her upset. Seeing the cat's strange behavior, Zhao Li and Su Dehai asked at the same time. Is little Mi alright? Hearing this, you chuckled. She's fine. Maybe she was just dreaming. The next second, Zhao Li brought the conversation back to the topic at hand. Is that all? Nothing else? Well, she has to be pretty, you said, as if it were obvious. If she's good looking, my standards are a bit more relaxed. Hearing this, Su Dehai quickly exclaimed in admiration. That's my son, alright? So honest. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhao Li shot him a glare. Su Dehai immediately put on a serious face and said, but you can't just look at appearances. Character is also very important. Of course, character is a must. I don't like people who shift blame. But I hate people who take all the blame on themselves even more. Lu Rian listened from the side. Her mind started to wander. Although she would never admit it, she genuinely felt that the things this annoying guy was saying were actually quite nice to listen to. But when he mentioned being good-looking, Lu Rian's mood suddenly sank a little. Am I considered good-looking? In this guy's eyes, probably not, right? He has terrible taste. Thinking of this, Lu Rian flicked her tail in displeasure. After dinner, Zhao Li went to wash the dishes, and you brought up the idea of taking your parents out tomorrow. We'll go see the flag-raising ceremony, and then go see the Great Wall. And of course, we have to try some local specialties, like mending robing. Duji, and also Baodu. When you were talking about sightseeing it was fine, but as soon as you mentioned the food, Zhao Li got a strange look on her face. Duji, huh, I might not be able to stomach that. Hearing this, you laughed. Forget you, even some of the locals can't stand it. Just give it a try. It's a new experience. After the dishes were done, Zhao Li looked around the room. Then, the marriage-pushing lecture started up again. So, are there any girls around you who meet your requirements? As soon as she said this, Lu Rian's ears twitched. But you just shook your head and said, not at the moment. Then you should be more proactive and look for one. I prefer to be passive. I'd rather just wait for fate. Alright, go take a shower and get to bed. We're having duji and fried dough cakes tomorrow. So we have to get up early. After saying that, you turned and ran over to Lu Rian. You grabbed the scruff of her neck. Little kitty, we should be sleeping now, she thought as she felt your fingers gently tickle her stomach. Lu Rian immediately let out a displeased meow. You annoying guy, this is too much. Petting her would have been one thing. But you actually scratched her. What are you touching all over the place? Besides, it's so itchy. Lu Rian really wanted to bite you. But considering that Jerk's parents were there, she held back. By 11 o'clock that night, you had finished washing up and were lying on the bed. And Lu Rian was pinned down beside you. At that moment, Lu Rian was expressionless, staring at the ceiling. It was as if she'd gotten used to it. Just as she was spacing out, you suddenly called out, kitty. And then heard a meow in response. However, you just chuckled and said, it's nothing. 15 minutes later, just as Lu Rian was about to fall asleep, you called out again. Kitty, and got the same meow in response. Still nothing, it seemed. After a little while longer. Kitty, still nothing. I was just checking to see if you were asleep. I have a bit of insomnia. Hearing this, Lu Ruyan immediately raged in her heart. Can't you be normal for once? Just because you can't sleep, you won't let a cat sleep either? Fine, then neither of us will get any sleep. Just as Lu Ruyan was about to roll over and challenge you, you gently stroked her head and said, go to sleep. Lu Ruyan instantly became alert. But this time, you really did close your eyes and go to sleep, which made Lu Ruyan so angry that she moved her head right out from under your hand. A couple of pats is enough. You think you can pet me all night long? Do you take me for someone with no boundaries? The next morning at 6:30, after a quick wash, you left with your parents. Lu Ruyan waited for 10 minutes, then changed back into her human form, since you wouldn't be back until at least 7 or 8 in the evening. Changing back now wouldn't be a problem for her. She then skillfully tidied up, went back next door, picked up her phone, and sent a message to Huang Ruha. Let me ask you something. What does it mean when a guy says he likes to be passive? Instantly, Huang Ruha replied, the moment you mentioned this, I'm wide awake. It's obvious, isn't it? He doesn't like to actively pursue people. He likes to be pursued. Wow, are you going to make the first move? Hearing this, Lu Ruyan's pretty face instantly flushed bright red. She immediately typed frantically, no way. I was just a little curious. Soon, Huang Ruha replied again, excitedly. This is your chance. It means he's not against being in a relationship. He's just too lazy to chase girls. Sister Ruyan, if you just take the initiative, the problem is solved. At this moment, Lu Ruyan felt like her heart was about to pound out of her chest. Oh, come on, I despise him. How could I possibly be the one to chase after him? How would you feel? Faced with Huang Rua's question, Lu Ruyan suddenly felt a heavy blow to her chest, and an image immediately flashed in her mind, model. By that man's side there's already another woman. He's going home with another woman. To eat together and sleep together. He'll hold someone else in his arms, and it won't be her anymore. At this thought, Lu Ruyan placed her fair hand on her chest. Feeling she had never experienced before welled up inside her, a sense of loss. It was as if a piece of her was missing. Seeing that Lu Ruyan hadn't replied for a long time, Huang Ruha asked again, is it very upsetting? Or do you feel like it doesn't matter? At that, Lu Ruyan hurriedly replied, of course it doesn't matter. I'm only here to learn about stocks and make money. However, her best friend, Huang Ruha, knew very well that given Lu Ruyan's personality, if she truly didn't care, she would have simply said one word, whatever. But now, Lu Ruyan had gone out of her way to explain herself. So, Huang Ruha decided to expose her true feelings. Lu Ruyan still stubbornly retorted, so what if I'm upset? If he has a woman by his side, I can't follow him to make money anymore. That's why I'm upset. However, this answer, Huang Ruha didn't believe it at all, because the one thing the Lu family never lacked was money. When Lu Ruyan first took over the company, she lost money on 3 consecutive deals. The losses amounted to 220 million, but Lu Ruyan wasn't upset at all. But this only made Huang Ruha even more curious. Just what kind of man could make the Ice Queen Lu Ruyan lose her composure like this? So, she immediately sent an enthusiastic message. Just admit it. It's perfectly normal to have a crush on someone. There's nothing to be ashamed of. Lu Ruyan bit her lip. She hesitated for a long time before replying, but I've only known him for a week. In the next second, the experienced dater, Huang Ruha, gave a knowing smile. So this is what an innocent girl who's never been in a relationship is like, huh? I'm so surprised. Does how long you've known someone have anything to do with liking them? Love at first sight is still love, you know. Hearing this, Lu Ruyan frowned and replied, does that even count as liking someone? Isn't that just lusting after their looks? Well, are you lusting after him? Just that simple counter question, and in an instant, Lu Ruyan remembered the sight of you sleeping, and those 8-pack abs. All at once, these images made Lu Ruyan choke. Her face instantly flushed bright red as she replied. After 3 seconds, Lu Ruyan finally sighed and typed, I'm done asking my questions. After sending that, Lu Ruyan put down her phone. She was a little distracted. That jerk probably doesn't like me, right? After all, he thinks I'm not good looking. At this thought, Lu Ruyan slumped onto the sofa in disappointment, letting her long white hair spill across it. This is fine as it is. If that annoying man was a criminal, it'd be a relief to have him arrested. Lu Ruyan imitated your posture, lying lazily on the sofa as her thoughts drifted away. Meanwhile, you had already brought your parents to a breakfast spot in the capital. Although Zhao Li no longer forced you to date, she would still offer suggestions from time to time. Is there anyone suitable around you? Or anyone you think is good looking? Hearing this, you thought for a moment and replied. But that's impossible. She's the CEO of our company. She's worth 40 billion and she's beautiful, too. Hearing this, Su Dehai and Zhao Li's eyes went wide, their faces filled with shock. The CEO? That's right. As you spoke, you pulled out your phone. You opened the official website for Kunlun Financial and found the executive CEO. Then you handed the phone over. Zhao Li took it and moved closer to Su Dehai. The couple looked together. Fair skin, delicate features, and a great figure. Lu Rian's eyes were especially captivating. When photographed under the lights, her eyes appeared brownish red, making them incredibly charming. Zhao Li immediately praised her. This girl's eyes are so beautiful. But Su Dehai hesitated for a moment and advised. She's not from the same world as us, is she? Yeah, we're not the same kind of people, you replied with a faint smile. It wasn't until 8 o'clock at night that you finally went home. As soon as you walked in, you looked towards the sofa. Xiao mi, master's home. Despite your smiling face, Lu Rian remained expressionless, merely flicking her tail in response. However, the next second, you jumped directly onto the sofa. Using the momentum to launch Lu Rian into the air, Lu Rian was instantly stunned. We haven't seen each other all day, and the first thing you do when you get home is act like such a dog. If you had even a single human gene, you wouldn't do something like this, would you? However, when Lu Rian landed, she unfortunately slipped a little, looking a bit awkward. Instantly, Lu Rian's fur stood on end. An illusion. It's all an illusion. A person who acts so much like a dog. How could I possibly like him? Just then, Zhao Li walked over, patted your back and said, don't scare her. It's fine, she's used to it, right, Xiao mi? Seeing your cheeky grin, a murderous glint flashed in Lu Rian's eyes. Used to it, my ass. Nearby, Su Dehai also came over and asked, do you often chat with her? Hearing this, you said with a serious face, we discuss stocks. Chat about movies. In the future, I might even teach her advanced mathematics. If possible, I hope she can get a PhD. It'll make me, her master, look good. Hearing this, Lu Rian really wanted to extend her claws, but she held back. But tonight, she decided she would assassinate you. For the next few days, you would go out every morning. Lu Rian would then revert to her human form to cover her tracks and handle work remotely. Then, she would imitate you by zoning out to pass the time. This continued until October 6th. With only 2 days left in the holiday, you felt too tired to go out and have fun anymore. Su Dehai and Zhao Li felt the same way. This vacation had been more stressful than going to work. So today, you decided to stay in bed all day cuddling the cat. It was around 11 o'clock in the morning. Zhao Li went downstairs to go grocery shopping. However, she had only taken a few steps, and she saw a middle-aged woman asking a passerby, hello. Excuse me, have you seen a girl with long hair? She has very fair skin. And she's quite tall, although this woman was dressed in plain clothes. But she has an extraordinary presence. Zhao Li grew up in a residential compound as a child. The neighbors were close and always helped each other, so Zhao Li also responded with warmth. I haven't seen her. Has something happened? The sun is so strong, and you're out here asking everyone one by one. Oh, my, the lady sighed. My daughter is such a handful. She snuck off to this neighborhood by herself. So I came over to look for her, to see if anyone has seen her. But I don't know where she lives. What does your daughter look like? Do you have a photo I can see? However, Huang Fangfang shook her head and said, she's too busy with work. I don't have a picture of her with me. Hearing this, Zhao Li said with great sympathy, oh, dear. My son is the same way. He's incredibly busy every single day. His work is so demanding, he doesn't even want to find a partner. If I push him, he gets annoyed and gives me a whole lecture with all his reasoning. My daughter is just like that. She's quite pretty, too. Plenty of people are pursuing her, she just doesn't want to date. Just like that, the two mothers came together, complaining about their own children, and in an instant, they found a common topic. It felt like they should have met ages ago. After half an hour, Huang Fangfang looked at her watch. With a hint of regret, she said, I have to go. Perhaps because they hit it off so well, Zhao Li had unconsciously walked with Huang Fangfang to the underground garage. Huang Fangfang was driving an Audi A8L. Originally, her car was parked just fine. But at some point, another car had parked crookedly next to hers, leaving only a tiny bit of space. Seeing this, Huang Fangfang froze. Sister Li, are you a good driver? Hearing this, Zhao Li shook her head. Can't drive, but my son is a very good driver. I'll call him to come help you. Huang Fangfang was just about to say not to bother. That she could call someone herself, but halfway through her sentence, Zhao Li had already taken out her phone and sent you a message. I just met an auntie whose car is blocked in. Come to the B2 garage quickly and help move a car. So, after receiving the message, you went to the second basement level and took a look around. Finally, in a corner, you saw two people standing there. Mom, as you called out, Zhao Li and Huang Fangfang heard the sound. They turned their heads at the same time and waved. And the moment Huang Fangfang saw you, she was a little surprised. This is your son? Yes, his name is Da Shang. Hearing this, Huang Fangfang asked in disbelief, you said he was just decent looking? He's clearly very handsome, okay? Huang Fangfang had once considered setting Lu Rian up with someone. For that, she had observed quite a few young men. Among all the people she had seen, even the most handsome one couldn't compare to you. After 10 seconds, you walked over and said politely to Huang Fangfang, you must be Auntie Tang, right? That's me. This is my car. Think you can get it out? Seeing this, you nodded and got in the car. In just a moment, you neatly and skillfully pulled the car out of the parking space. Finally, Huang Fangfang breathed a sigh of relief and said, Sister Li. Da Shang is such a steady driver. He was a huge help. If you hadn't helped, Huang Fangfang might have had to call her driver. If that had happened, her secret would have been exposed. After you got out of the car, Huang Fangfang thanked you profusely, while you just smiled and said there was no need to be so polite. But for some reason, in Huang Fangfang's eyes, the more she looked at you, the more she liked you. Not only were you handsome, but you were also well-spoken and very well-mannered. For a moment, Huang Fangfang suddenly had a thought. How come you seemed a bit like the long-lost son-in-law she'd been waiting for? Despite having this idea, Huang Fangfang didn't rush to say anything. It was their first meeting, and she knew too little about you. There was no way she could introduce Lu Rian to you right away, so she decided to get your contact information first to find out more. Although you were a bit confused, you still agreed and exchanged contact info. As for whether you would actually chat, that would be up to you. After exchanging a few simple pleasantries, you both said your goodbyes and left. As soon as you got back upstairs, Su Dehai immediately asked. All taken care of? Is it handled? It was nothing complicated. It's just that Auntie Tang's driving skills are so-so. Lu Rian, listening to your answer from the side, tilted her head and glanced at Da Shang. Auntie Tang, this person actually had the same surname as her mother. How funny. Was there some kind of special magic in the surname Tang? Then, Su Dehai looked over at Zhao Li. Made a new friend? Hearing this, Zhao Li replied regretfully, her daughter hasn't been coming home lately. I heard she's been hanging out with some boy, so she came over to ask around. I'm helping her look into it. Listening to his parents' idle chat. You didn't say a word. It was someone else's business. And you couldn't be bothered with it. Beside you, Lu Rian licked her lips. She wasn't interested either, just muttered to herself. Cramp. At noon, you ate a bowl of noodles. Lu Rian, however, couldn't turn back into a human today. She was still in her cat form. She couldn't go the whole day without eating. She definitely wouldn't be able to last. So, despite some resistance, she ate a little bit of beef from the cat bowl. But after eating, she started to feel sleepy. However, she didn't really dare to sleep. Because by now, her control over turning into a cat was very refined. If during a nap, she accidentally turned back into a human while she wasn't wearing any clothes. How awkward would that be? A socially devastating moment like that would be enough to make her jump right off the building. Finally, after 5 in the afternoon, Lu Rian was planning to get some peaceful sleep. But just then, you suddenly received a message. You opened it and saw it was from Huang Fangfang. Da Shang, my daughter is about your age. Her behavior has been a bit strange lately. I don't have any young people around me, so I don't understand what she's thinking. Could you help Auntie analyze the situation? Hearing this, you thought for a moment and replied. I'm not sure if I can help, but you can tell me the details. Huang Fangfang replied quickly. Actually, it's still about that same problem. My daughter has always been very obedient, and her grades are good too. She finished her credits early and graduated from university at 23. But recently, she's been spending less time at the company and often doesn't reply to my messages. It's like she's a rebellious child. Can you help me figure out what's going on? Auntie, I think the person who really needs the attention is you. Hearing this, Huang Fangfang was stunned. Me? What's wrong with me? When your daughter is having problems, you should try to understand her, not analyze her. You need to understand her thoughts first, to grasp her logic. Only then can you truly understand her. My point is, first accept her, and then investigate the reasons for her change. When you truly understand your daughter, perhaps then you'll understand why she has become the way she is now. Huang Fangfang was instantly shocked as she read the message you sent. She had always thought of herself as a competent mother. At the very least, she supported Lu Rian. She respected Lu Rian's views. But after what you said, she suddenly realized that the expectations and standards she had for Lu Rian had always been her own, not what Lu Rian wanted. She truly did care about her daughter, but she had never genuinely tried to understand her. Huang Fangfang had originally just been looking for an excuse to chat with you, but your words had all but eliminated her confusion. A perfect answer. After the shock wore off, Huang Fangfang felt a surge of excitement. Not only is he handsome, but he has a good character, too. And he's wise. The more she thought about it, the more you seemed like the son-in-law her family was meant to have. Who would have thought she'd go out looking for her daughter and end up finding a son-in-law? Afterward, Huang Fangfang sent another message to Zhao Li. 10 minutes later, Zhao Li walked up to you and said with a smile. Tomorrow, you're coming with Mom to help find someone. It's Auntie Tang's daughter. She lives in this complex, too. You know the area well. I hear she's a female executive at some big corporation. You were stunned when you heard this. Clearly, Mom was trying to set you up, but you couldn't very well refuse. However, Lu Rian, who was nearby, the moment she heard Zhao Li's words, had an even more shocked expression on her face. Her surname is Tang, and she has a daughter who's a female executive even though she didn't say which corporation. But this information sent a chill down Lu Rian's spine. Could they have found out I'm secretly living here? If the person they're looking for is me, what am I going to do? Then my secret about being a cat at this thought. Lu Rian couldn't help but let out a small meow. I absolutely cannot be discovered.